replace this text here with this font. Okay, so let's do that. And to do that, we have to go back to Photoshop. Okay, don't save. Okay, and to do that, we also have to use the old version, which is this. Okay, let's bring it here. Yep. And we also need the requirements for unlocking the character. So that is this. Yep. Okay, let's bring this here. So it will be somewhere around here. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's bring this up all the way here. Okay, now we can start with creating the name and description for our second character. So let's start with the name. Okay, so the name starts with Ara. Okay. Okay, let's bring this to the left. Okay, somewhere around here. Okay, for Ara, we need an Ara here. Okay, let me just copy this link. Okay, let me just paste this here. Oh, 4x. So that means you have already scaled it up, I guess. It's still loading, I guess. Okay, I think I really need to download it. So okay. Oh, okay. So preview opens it automatically. Let me just zoom in. So since it's in pixel art, it should be alright even if I zoom it in. Okay, let me take a look at this. Hey, this reminds me of a sheep, or maybe a cow. I think I'm leaning more towards a sheep, but a sheep that is sort of imbued with fantasy and mythical genres, I guess. So maybe like a sheep that only exists in myths or legends. Oh. Okay, that proves that our perspectives can be different. Because this portion here looks to me like the head, and this looks to me like the body. So at least from my angle of perspective, it looks like it's leaning more towards, or rather its body is leaning more towards its left, and these two black dots are the eyes. Yeah, it looks like a cube of a ship that is in the form of a cube. So even though this is in pixel art, at least from my perspective, you could also directly convert this into a low poly type of graphics where it's in the form of a cube. Yeah, because I assume cubes, or rather shapes that are more straightforward like the cube, is easier to create in a low poly 3D art form. Okay, but I like the pixel art version as well. Yeah, because the pixel art version allows you to imagine or have different imaginations on what it actually is. Yeah, so that is one of the fun parts about pixel art. Yeah, it is sheepish. Okay, next we need a O and O. Yeah. Okay, but just being curious, did you create this just for fun, or is this a character, or rather a main character of a game that you're working on? Hi, Mana. We need a H. Oh wait. Okay. One, two, three, four, five. Okay. Okay. Next we have a G. Okay, so our G is slightly complicated, or maybe not. Okay, so that's our G and our H. Yep. Okay, next we need M. Oops. Okay, M. Oh, okay. Okay, that's kind of fun and a good source of inspiration, I guess. Yeah. Hey, you should definitely do that. As in, you should definitely add that as a character in one of your future games. And if you do so, do let me know. Okay. I will definitely play that. Okay. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Two, three. Okay, and here we can just duplicate this group and bring it here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5. Visual Studio and JavaScript. Okay, so I'm not experienced with, what should I say? I have to tell you first that I'm not experienced with writing JavaScript in Visual Studio. Okay, but I'm assuming that Visual Studio supports quite a number of languages. Okay, Visual Studio, JavaScript. So I know that Microsoft usually focuses on C#, but I think they are also trying to improve the support for JavaScript in Visual Studio. Okay, so if you are asking in terms of whether the editor in Visual Studio is good for JavaScript, then I'm assuming that it has good support for JavaScript, but in terms of game development, then that's another whole new perspective. Okay, so if you're asking about JavaScript in Visual Studio for game development, then it depends on what is your game about, or rather what do you want your game to do, or rather what kind of gameplay experience do you want your players to experience while playing your game. So those are some things that will affect whether how you want to go about doing this. Like say for example, because JavaScript also allows you to do things like Ajax, or rather live feedback through the web, and some web development on top of game development. So that's one of the strong points of JavaScript, which I find. So if you want to maybe provide some sort of web capability for your game, maybe that's where JavaScript will shine in game development. Yeah, at least that's my perspective. So I'm not sure if that answered your question or not. Yeah. So that's how I would say where JavaScript shines. Yeah. Okay, so let me just save this just in case. Okay. So we still have quite a number of tags to do. Okay, so they are all listed down here. Okay, but I should be able to get them done within the day. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we are going to start the live stream today for now. Okay, so we might be streaming tomorrow, any day after next. So yeah, thanks for just dropping by and hanging out with me. Oh, okay. Okay, so that means I'm going to assume that you are going to focus more on the single player experience. Okay, for the game you are trying to do or create. So if that's the case, I might be biased about this, but I might go with C# instead. Yeah. No, okay, but the thing is, you should always and definitely use whatever you are most comfortable with, as that will allow you to get more features done faster. So if you are more comfortable with JavaScript, okay, I would recommend that you go ahead with it. So what I'm trying to say is use what feels most natural to you. Yeah. Hey, by the way, that's... Oh. Not exactly. Because a lot of the information can be found on the web. You just need to Google them. Okay, but if you have more experience with JavaScript, definitely go with JavaScript. Okay, unless you are interested in spending at least some time to learn a new language such as C#, then then you might be required to spend more time. Yeah. I guess what I'm trying to say is that don't spend time learning something that you are not interested to learn, and something that, or rather, don't spend time trying to learn something that you're not interested to learn and just for the sake of learning it. Yeah. At least that's my perspective. But oh, okay. Okay, so that's a good and positive attitude to have. So if you are interested in learning C#, okay, no one is going to stop you, I guess. Because, at least from my perspective, if you have experience with a few languages, then usually when transitioning to another new language, it would be easier for you, because deep down they are usually the same, with just a few structure and maybe syntax differences here and there. So I don't think you will have any trouble picking out C#. Yeah. Yeah, so go for it. Okay, unless you are talking about C++, then that is a whole other beast, because with C++ you have to worry about memory management. So that's another thing to think about. I hope that I've answered your question. Oh. Okay, so if you still have anything, or rather if you just want to chat or anything, just drop me a tweet, or you can also email me. Okay, my email is davidlxk@whitesponge.com. Yeah. Okay, so I will try to reply you as soon as possible, because I usually have my mail here open, and Twitter is instant, so yeah. Okay, so once again I want to just say thanks for always dropping by, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you again on Twitch TV. Okay, so have a great weekend, and just email me or